Welcome back to part two of how to make math a living, breathing lesson and take the boredom out of it. Back in a minute. Hi, this is Jan from New York City. My channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. I love to help people keep their money, but I want to share with you really a great experience I had as a teacher, and it involved a lot of things besides math. If you didn't see part one yesterday, I strongly urge you to today. I'm going to pick up on this thought that we need, parents and teachers collectively need to encourage money talks at school and at home. I think that this area is very lacking, and I don't think it's fair. I really don't think it's fair. We need to make a better effort, in my honest opinion. But getting back to how I made math fun for my sixth grade class. Okay. Well, when I offered the idea to the kids that would you like to be your own small, tiny business owner for a day? They were like, what? Yeah. I have to say this. The kids were super stoked. And they just wanted to do this. So I asked the kids, first of all, I formulated a letter to go home to the parents, which had to be signed by the parent. And the donations had to be brought to people with decluttering their closets, whatever. They had a fun time doing it. I know they did. And you should see some of the great stuff that was donated for the cause to have our very own flea market, the very first flea market ever in that school. And the principal, of course, approved it. Now, what does this have to do with math? A heck of a lot. It has a lot to do with math because there's a lot of things that go along with having a flea market, like counting, putting your items together, being the person that's selling, little vendors, and so on and so forth. So the principal approved that we could do this. The class was super stoked. And of course, like I mentioned, they needed a signed permission slip, that the parents are okay, because we didn't want just people going home just saying, oh yeah, we could sell this. And then I find out a month later, no, you weren't allowed to. Everything was all squared away and everything was perfect. So looking back, that was a great thing to do. But it was a fun thing. And everybody was like looking at all the stuff that was brought in. So we kept the inventory in the back of the room and everything. And then, everything was a step-by-step process. And I did have a little help from a wonderful eighth grade. The eighth grade boys and girls came down to literally put out the tables. We had this fairly large backyard, schoolyard, fairly large. We had a bunch of tables, and it was just set up like a square all around the perimeters, right? And the kids were so excited. They took their posts, and then we spent some time, of course, putting the stickers on with the prices. Everything was set up professionally. These are only kids in the sixth grade. And back then, really, they didn't do that many things like that in the sixth grade back in the 80s that I'm aware of. So there was also another option for the kids that couldn't bring anything, from home. We offered the option if you would like to bring in some homemade cupcakes or some pre-made cupcakes. We had to have a refreshment table. Needless to tell you, everybody clamored to that table as well. But so the principal was so organized about this. She used to be my principal when I was a child, by the way, I'm just mentioning it. So all the tables were set up, all the items were in place. My sixth grade kids they had the area of the table, and they were their own little vendors. This is math. This is taking math and making it come alive. Money is exchanged. Things have to be counted. Real life living math, and a little wee bit of a business experience to get people away from the thought of only looking ahead to getting a good job. Okay. You know how I feel about that, because that's on my previous video. And like I said, some of the kids were vendors, and that was so fun. They really loved that job. If you could have only seen the faces of the kids. So what the principal did, she did everything in an orderly manner. Great principal. So let's say the flea market, we were allowed to go down and set up the flea market at 9 a.m. in the yard. Then we were told that the classes will start coming down at about 10:15, 10:30. And it took, a bunch of time to get about 40 kids in a flea market together, right? But we did it. We made it by the 10:15, 10:30 mark. And then the kids would come down in an orderly manner, class by class. Everybody was having fun. What kid wouldn't look forward to a 15, 20-minute break in elementary school, go out in the yard, go buy something for fun, go grab a cupcake on the cheap, get a little water, a bottle of water, whatever. Everyone had so much fun. But what I made sure to do was not to put all the excellent things out. And then let's say the top grades get, first crack at it. We like sprinkled in a couple of really good things, just kept it going. It was so much fun. And best of all, everything went to charity. Kids not only got a math lesson, they got a lesson in customer service, right? Dealing with the people, the math, the customer service, and the feeling of doing something kind. They, donated the proceeds to the church. So the church did, listen, for a bunch of kids getting together and all this and all that. So we raised a few $100 back in the 80s. So a few $100 was, I would say it was about, from my memory, I'd say it was close to $600. I'm not sure, but $600 back in the 80s is probably worth about $1,200 now. And the church, we were so happy to, donate it to the church. And there were so many lessons. There were so many lessons learned from this. There was the math. There was the customer service. There was the feeling of doing something kind and, making a difference. I encourage everyone that has the ability to do this, even if they're teaching, to consider this. I'm just saying, get all the permissions and everything was wonderful. So unbeknownst to me, it kind of left a little bit of a happy thumbprint, that flea market idea, because to this day, I believe that it served as a future thing, because to this day, now they have a grown-up version of the flea market in that area almost every single weekend. So I kind of like, when I pass by that, I kind of like go, yep, because they never did that before. They never even thought of that idea before. It was really, really kind of like my brainstorm. But, if you're any of my former kids watching that, thank you. Just saying. So math doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be a snore. It can make a difference. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to throw a flea market, right? But practical teaching, in my opinion, is the best way to go. Hey, listen, I want to thank everybody. I want everyone to really, really make math fun. Turn it into an action thing, okay? Remember how super stoked my class was, and find ways for whatever you're doing in your own life to be super stoked about, let's say, managing your budget. Just think about how you can choose to be super stoked about managing your budget or considering a side hustle. Think of all these things. Anyway, thanks so much for your time. And until the next time, take good care. Don't forget to smash down the like button if you got value from this video. Have a great day.